The Camino is known for changing people, but what really surprised me is how it does it. It's not about the distance or the destination. It's about what you discover in the middle of discomfort, when your body hurts, when the road feels endless, and when you keep walking anyway. Hey, I'm Tracy, and after over 500 miles on the Camino, I came home with 10 lessons that changed the way I approach everything, from how I deal with worry to how I understand joy. And they're lessons anyone can use, whether you're walking the Camino yourself or just finding your own version of it in everyday life. Make sure you stay to the end because the last one is actually the reason I live differently now. Let's start with the first lesson the Camino threw at me. Number one, you're stronger than you think. The first week on the Camino nearly broke me. My knees hurt, my feet hurt, everything hurt. And there were moments when I honestly thought I was injured and might have to quit. So I started taking it one town at a time. Just get there, then see how I feel, then get to the next one. But somewhere along the way, I realized I was actually doing it. Slowly and painfully, but doing it. Every morning I woke up sore, and every day I walked anyway. And one day I realized I had gone hundreds of miles. And that's when it clicked. Most of us never find our real limits. We just stop when things get uncomfortable. But when you don't have a choice, when the only way out is through, you discover you're capable of so much more than you imagine. And once you do it, it changes what you believe is possible on the trail and in life. After I proved to myself that I could keep going, the Camino found new ways to test me. Lesson number two, most of what we worry about never happens. So the trail isn't flat. In fact, it is far from it. There are long, steep climbs that will burn your legs and descents so sharp that they pound your knees with every step. And after those first brutal stretches, I started dreading every hill anyone mentioned. People would say, tomorrow's a tough one, and immediately I'd tense up and stress all night about it. I also obsessed about La Meseta because everyone described it as endless and miserable. And then I got there, and it wasn't awful at all. It actually was peaceful and open with a rhythm that felt almost meditative. I finally saw how pointless all that worrying had been. It didn't make me any more prepared, it just made me tense and tired before it even started. Most of the things I feared on the Camino never happened, and the ones that did were never as bad as I expected. And that is true off the trail too. Trust that you'll handle it when it's here instead of suffering for it twice. Lesson number three, hard days make the good days better. So some days I was walking in blazing heat and others I was freezing in the morning. One day I'd be drenched in sweat and the next day in rain. And at first it felt a bit frustrating, but eventually I saw how every kind of discomfort added contrast to the journey. After a day of heat, that first cool breeze felt incredible. After days of pain, the absence of pain felt like a gift. But it also went deeper than that. Somewhere along the way, I started to feel grateful during the hard parts too. When it rained, I would catch myself thinking, this is going to make tomorrow's sun feel amazing. It became this loop: challenge, relief, gratitude, repeat. And the Camino taught me that gratitude isn't just for the easy moments, it's born from contrast. Without the messy parts, the blisters, the weather, the ache, happiness would just blur into the background. And that carries into life beyond the Camino too. The hard weeks make peaceful ones shine brighter. Loss deepens love. Struggle sharpens joy. The rough days don't take the magic away, they just make it visible. Lesson number four, every moment is a fresh start. The Camino has this rhythm of constant beginnings. Every morning you wake up, lace your shoes, and start again. No matter how hard the day was before, you get another chance to try differently. One morning I woke up exhausted after barely sleeping in a really loud snoring albergue. I was cranky and I started filming a video just for my family, venting about how miserable the night was. Mid video, I heard how silly it all sounded and I just started laughing, and it snapped me right out of it.
Rough start to this day. I did a shared accommodation last night. Oh my god! These people are chainsawing in the middle of the night, knowing that they do that. And they say, yeah, I'll take a public bed. I'll sleep with strangers, knowing that I'm going to snore like a freaking crazy banshee chainsaw. I don't even know words right now because I'm so fucking tired. Sorry. Anyways, it's a new day on the Camino. I have another shared accommodation tonight. I think I just needed to vent. So whoever watches this, thank you for listening. It's gonna be fine.
That moment reminded me how quickly things can shift when you let them. I didn't have to wait for the day to get better. I could start over right then. Just breathe, reset, and keep walking. And the Camino gave me endless chances to practice that. When I got lost, I'd pause, find the yellow arrow, and start again. When the pain hit, I'd take a break, stretch, and begin again. It wasn't about erasing the hard parts, it was about releasing the frustration and choosing to begin anyway. And that mindset has followed me after. It's so easy to let a bad hour become a bad day or a bad day become a bad week, but it doesn't have to. Every moment is a reset button if you let it be. All it takes is a breath and a shift and the choice to start again. So, learning to start fresh made me more patient with myself, but the next lesson stretched me in a different way. Number 5, you get back what you give. There was a point when I started avoiding shared albergues. I was exhausted and desperate for sleep, and honestly, I didn't feel like I was missing much by staying on my own. I told myself I'm not really getting much from sleeping in the shared accommodation anyway. But one day that thought hit me differently. Maybe it wasn't about what I was getting at all. Maybe it was about what I was giving. And that shift changed how I saw everything: the walk, the people, even the path itself. Some mornings I'd smile or stop to chat with somebody I might have otherwise passed by. I asked more questions, I listened more, and I realized that even a short conversation could lift somebody's whole day, including mine. It reminded me that energy is reciprocal. The Camino mirrors back the effort and the presence and the kindness you bring to it. When I opened up, I received more connection. When I softened, things flowed easier. And when I gave my full attention to the trail, to the sunrise, and to the crunch of gravel underfoot, I felt more peace in return. And it's the same off the Camino. When you show up for life half present, it reflects that back. But when you engage with care, with people, with your work, with the moment right in front of you, the world starts meeting you at that level too. You get back what you give, always. Lesson number 6, mindset changes everything. So once I realized how much the Camino gives back what you put into it, I started paying more attention into how I was showing up. Not just physically, but mentally. Because on this walk, your mindset shapes everything. At one point, my days started to feel repetitive. Same pack, same clothes, same routine. I'd wake up sore, already thinking about how many miles were left. And then one morning, I decided to experiment with how I started my walk. Instead of complaining or overthinking, I built a small ritual. I'd listen to this beautiful song about releasing control, then shift into a gratitude meditation, then a short visualization, and then an audiobook or a talk that inspired me. And it became this moving practice that filled my head with something positive before the day even had a chance to test me. I also repeated a mantra from the song, and sometimes just thank you. Thank you, Camino. Thank you, universe. Thank you, me. It changed everything, and it wasn't because the pain disappeared or the days got easier, but because I met them with a different energy. The same miles, the same hills, the same blisters, but a completely different experience. And that's what mindset really is. It's not about the toxic positivity or pretending everything's fine. It's about choosing what lens you walk through life with. When you start walking through with gratitude and curiosity or trust instead of control or frustration, the road itself feels lighter. Not just on the Camino, but anywhere your feet take you next. So once I started seeing how much mindset could shift my experience, it also made me realize something else. Lesson number 7, growth lives beyond comfort. That lesson hit the hardest at the end of the Camino. After finishing in Santiago, I still had one more leg to walk, 90 more kilometers all the way to the sea at Becerra. And honestly, I wasn't excited about it. Everyone else was celebrating or traveling home or resting. Meanwhile, I was sore and tired and second guessing why I'd signed up for 3 more days of hills. But I'd already booked everything, so I started walking anyway. And within a few miles, something shifted. The crowds disappeared and the path quieted, and I remembered why I came: to challenge myself and to see what was on the other side of resistance. That walk to Pistera became one of my favorites. The hills were brutal, but the ocean view at the end took my breath away. It reminded me that every time I pushed past comfort, whether it was quitting my job or walking alone across Spain or starting over, it always led to the most meaningful chapters of my life. Growth isn't born in comfort. It is born in the moments that you keep walking, even when it would be easier to stop. And once you've done that a few times, the unknown stops feeling so scary, starts to feel like freedom. Lesson number 8, solitude and connection can coexist. That quiet stretch to Pistera reminded me how much I love solitude, but it also made me realize how much I still crave connection. And that's something the Camino really forced me to reconcile. Before this trip, I'd spent almost a year healing and saving and preparing to leave everything behind. I'd gotten used to being alone, maybe a little too used to it, so suddenly being surrounded by people again was an adjustment. I craved community, but I also craved quiet. And for a while, I thought that meant I was doing it wrong, that I should be more social or more open. But somewhere along the way, I realized I didn't have to pick a side. I could have both. Some days I walked alone for hours, completely content in silence, and other days I found myself laughing over lunch or having deep conversations with people I'd just met. I started to see that solitude and connection aren't opposites. They actually feed off each other. The more comfortable I became in my own company, the more open I was to others. That realization has followed me after as well. You can love your alone time and still want closeness. And when you stop trying to fit into one box or the other, life gets a lot more peaceful. Lesson number 9: freedom lives in less. For 40 days and nights, I lived out of a backpack. 2 outfits, no makeup, just the basics. And I have never felt more free. I didn't have to think about what to wear or how I looked. Every morning was simple: just pack up, walk, and repeat. The lack of choices I used to think would feel limiting actually felt like relief. Couldn't overthink because there wasn't anything to overthink. And somewhere along the line, I started liking that version of me more. No concealer, no hair products, and somehow I felt more confident than ever. I didn't have to think about what to wear or how I looked or what I might be missing. I got used to seeing my real face every day, and somewhere along the line, I started liking it more. Now that I'm traveling again with more stuff, I feel more stressed. There's more to pack, more to lose, more to compare. When I misplace something, it bothers me. When I open my bag and see all the choices, I start wondering if I picked the right one. And that's what more possessions do. They just fill your mind with noise. They trick you into thinking you're gaining comfort when really you're losing peace. The Camino taught me that freedom isn't about having nothing, it's about needing less and realizing that what's left is enough. Because when life gets simpler, your energy finally goes where it matters, to the people, places, and moments right in front of you. And that's what freedom really is: not owning less, but being owned by less. And that sense of freedom created something even bigger: space for joy, which brings me to my final lesson. Number 10: joy is a choice. Joy wasn't something the Camino handed me, it was something I had to learn to make. There were days when I was tired or hungry or annoyed at everything: the hills and the heat, even the distance to the next town. And at first, I kept waiting for the day to turn around, for something to happen that would make me feel better. But eventually, I realized nothing was going to change until I did. So I started choosing it: a deep breath instead of a complaint, gratitude instead of frustration, a smile instead of a sigh. The circumstances stayed the same, but my experience didn't. And the more I practiced that choice, the easier it became to find something good in every mile. Joy, I learned, isn't what comes after the hard part, it's what carries you through it. And once you know you can create it anywhere, you stop waiting for life to feel different before you do.
I think I'm onto something with this choosing joy thing, because I was just having a moment, a hangry, grumpy, little petulant child moment where I'm just like, boy, the fuck to Spain? Kitchen's not open till 8 o'clock at night. It's insane to me, especially in pilgrim places where we're hungry. And then I just said, Tracy, stop. Look at this view. Take a deep breath in and out. I'm walking to the end of the world. This is my final walk as a pilgrim. Do you really want to be hangry and mad about what time the kitchen's closed when it's a different culture anyways, and that works for them? So I literally just said, you know what? No, I'm gonna just choose to be happy in these final moments of being a pilgrim. And I'm happy now. It's as simple as that. It's kind of crazy. I'm still really hungry though.
If you're waiting for joy, you'll keep waiting. But if you create it in how you think and how you show up, it is always right there with you. Looking back, the Camino didn't just change me on the trail, it changed how I handle everything after it. These lessons still guide me every day, and if you're getting ready to walk your own Camino, next you should watch my video on 20 real tips to help you prepare smarter and walk easier so you can spend less time worrying and more time experiencing the magic of the trail. Buen Camino.